Hello, everyone. Welcome to Encouragement Personified, building an unshakable faith in the faithfulness of God. My name is Joseph, and if you're here for the first time, welcome. And if you're here for some more faith building and encouragement, welcome back. Here I share true stories that show God's sovereignty, His grace, His peace, His strength, healing and joy manifested in the lives of individuals with the hope that it will encourage you to reflect upon your own walk with God and truly see how He has moved in your life. And in seeing how He's moved, help you to build that unshakable faith in God's faithfulness. So sit back, relax, and let's start building that unshakable faith together. So for this next story that I'm going to share, it's called God's Timing is Perfect. And it's a story that happened to me in 2002. And to set it up, basically, I had family living in San Antonio and in California. And every summer I would go to San Antonio to visit my family in San Antonio and also in California. And I was splitting my time between the two. And I just started feeling a pull on my heart to move to San Antonio. Every time I went back to San Antonio, I just felt stronger and stronger. Hey, I want to move back to San Antonio. And so I started putting a plan together. I started applying for jobs, and it was probably over a 6-month period of time that I was applying for jobs in San Antonio, and I never heard back. I didn't hear anything back from anybody. But God knew my heart. He knew that I wanted to move to San Antonio, and I believe He put it in my heart to do so. So for the company that I was working for, there was actually a field specialist position that opened up in San Antonio. So I thought, that's probably a good fit for me, because I currently was working in IT with the company that I was working for in Kansas City. So I flew down one weekend and I job shadowed with a field analyst, and I really liked the job. And I thought, this is going to be a good fit for me. So when I got back, I applied for the job and I interviewed for it. And the interview went really well. So I thought, I've got this. The job's going to be mine. So I started letting my family know, hey, I'm going to be coming down soon. I really believe I'm going to get this job. So about a week later, I got a call, and it was really weird how this happened, because I got a call. It was between 9 and 10 o'clock at night from the hiring manager for the position that I had applied for. And the first thing he said to me was, this is the hardest call that I have had to make. And so I was like, this is kind of weird. Hiring manager calling me saying the first thing that comes out of his mouth is, this is the hardest call he's had to make. And so he said, hey, Joseph, I got some news to share with you. We really wanted to hire you. We wanted to give you this position. But there is a field specialist in California where they had family living in San Antonio, and one of their family members became ill, and they needed 24/7 care, round-the-clock care, basically. And so he said, we have to give that person the position. We're going to transfer him. And sorry, but we're not going to be able to offer you the job. And, I told him, thank you for the opportunity to interview. I really appreciated it. And that was that. And so as you start to hear these stories that I share with you, I think back to this moment because there was a reason why God did not give me that job, even though I felt like I had it in the bag. And even hearing from the manager, hardest call he had to make. I've never experienced something like that before. So I figured, I need to put a plan in place. I need to start doing something so I can go ahead and move. And it was my plan, right? So I actually got 2 separate jobs in addition to the job that I was working. I worked at the mall. I worked at a spa, a day spa, and of course my regular job. So I was working 3 jobs. And I was hustling. I was working 7 days a week. And basically my goal was I wanted to save money. So when I got to San Antonio, I would have at least a little bit of kitty held up so I can pay for my bills and things like that as I started to continue to look for a job. So, moving forward, I get a call and I find out my sister, who I hadn't seen for 10 years, was going to go to San Antonio to visit my family. And so the company I was working for, I had 1 week of vacation left. And so I'm going to try to make sure this is as clear as possible, but I had a weird timeline that I was working under that I set for myself. So I was going to be leaving my job and in September, around September or so. But my sister was actually going to be in San Antonio in June of that year. So I had a lot of stuff that I needed to move down to San Antonio. So I figured, okay, I'm going to go ahead and use my vacation. I'm going to move half of my stuff down in June. So I can see my sister, because I hadn't seen her in 10 years, and this was out of the blue that she said she was coming to visit us. So I was like, I got to go see her. And then a good friend of mine in Kansas City said, hey, you can stay with me until your lease is up, because my lease wasn't going to be up until September. So, I graciously accepted that. And so the plan was move half my stuff down in June, see my sister, come back to Kansas City, continue to work those 3 jobs, and then in September go ahead and move to San Antonio. But all this time, I really wanted a job that had benefits, because it was very important, that it had benefits. So moving forward, it's time to go ahead and see my sister. So it was a Saturday, packed up my U-Haul with half of my stuff that I had, and I moved it to San Antonio, and I saw my sister. It was so exciting, all of us together as a family, the brother and sisters, and we made plans for that whole week. We were going to go to Schlitterbahn here in San Antonio. We were going to go do a bunch of stuff. And so that Wednesday was our plan to go to Schlitterbahn. So I remember it distinctly. We all got there. I was getting all my stuff together, and I walked to a locker to put my stuff in the locker. And I opened up, started putting stuff in, and as soon as I put my phone in, my phone rang. And so I picked it up, and it was my good friend, childhood friend that I've known for a long time here in San Antonio. And I lifted up and said, hey, how's it going? So he told me, he said, hey, did Chris call you? So Chris was his boss. And I was like, no, because I didn't know Chris. Who's Chris? Other than him telling me it's his boss. And he said, well, hey, this is what happened. I walked into Chris's office today, and this is my friend telling me this, and I saw on his board, fill position. And my friend said, hey, Joseph's in town, and he applied for that job 6 months ago. And so Chris said, hey, give me his number. And so my friend gave him my number. And so he basically was saying, hey, Chris is going to call you. And so I'm at Schlitterbahn. I'm thinking, oh my goodness, okay. So I got a call from him later on that afternoon. And this was after we had left Schlitterbahn. And I picked it up. And of course, hey, Chris, nice to meet you. My name's Joseph. And yeah, I did apply for your position. But what happened is somebody had quit that week for a job that I applied for 6 months ago. Quit that week. And so it was weird, because he asked me, hey, can you come in tomorrow for an interview on a Thursday? I didn't have any clothes. I had nothing. So I put together this pitiful ensemble of clothes. My belt didn't match. It was funny. To me, but I wanted to go to the interview. So went to the interview, met him. He walked me around, showed me what I would be doing, what I would be supporting, the proprietary software that we'd be utilizing for the support. And long story short, basically gave me the job. And I was just taken aback by that. What are the odds of making all these plans, right? Having a timeline, and my sister calling me out of the blue, hey, I'm going to be in San Antonio in June this week. And it just so happens that week, an individual that worked in a position that I had applied for 6 months prior quit. And then my friend walking into this boss's office and seeing that on the wall, fill position, and him telling him, hey, Joseph's in town, he applied for that job. And then getting the job. So literally that week, I went back to Kansas City, and then 2 weeks later, I drove the rest of my stuff down, and I started working here in San Antonio. God provided that for me. I'll never forget it. It was just such an amazing feeling to know that God was in control, and he orchestrated that, because he knew one of my major things that I wanted was a job with benefits, and that's what he provided for me. So a couple of scriptures come to mind for me every time I think about this story. and what God did for me. Psalms 19:21. Many other plans in a person's heart, but it's the Lord's purpose that prevails. And that scripture holds true for me for a lot of different reasons, and not just this story, but a lot of other stories in my life. And then, of course, 2 Peter 3:8. But do not forget this one thing, dear friends. With the Lord, a day is like 1,000 years, and 1,000 years as like a day. That 6 months felt like 1,000 years to me. But to God, it was nothing. And he had that all planned out and orchestrated for me. So I hope this story encourages you. I hope you can reflect back on the things that have happened in your life and see where God has moved on your behalf and showed up in a sudden and mighty way. Because he continues to do that. He continues to sit on the throne. And I just want to encourage you about that. So I hope you're encouraged today. I pray that your faith has become a little bit more unshakable. And so until next time, remember, he left the 99 for you.